Hey YouTube, welcome back. It's another Tetra video for you guys today. I can hear some people in the audience sighing, saying, oh no, it's another Tetra video. But let's just say something big is coming in the world of Tetra decoding soon, guys. Now, I'm not saying that to be a clickbait person. You guys know I don't do clickbait. And if I do clickbait, it'll only be like for a joke, making fun of clickbait because it's silly. But do you think it's coincidental that a lot of this stuff is starting to come out, guys? Something big's coming. Okay? Something big. And on the rtl-sdr blog website, you can see that we had this blog post come out on January 27th, 2026. So let's just read the title quickly. TELIVE osmo-tetra SQ5 BPF, an experimental tetra decoder that enables voice decryption. If you have the key, okay? I want you guys to read that and say it out aloud in your head hundreds of times, okay? This is a voice decryption tool. It's not a cracking tool, okay? Cracking is a separate process in the wider tetra decryption process, okay? This is a voice decryptor, which means you need to have the key first. This application on its own will not allow you to obtain the key, all right? Now, TELIVE was this cool application that came out in 2014, I think, a few years after the rtl-sdr bursted onto the scene and brought the cost of software-defined radios down dramatically so everybody could get involved. TELIVE is actually used in every single tetra decoding application that's ever been made. That includes all the plugins for SDR++, plugins for SDR Sharp, osmo-tetra. Thought the code was so good in TELIVE that they actually rebased their entire osmo-tetra project with the code. And yeah, basically all the other Linux tetra decoding applications all basically run TELIVE under the hood, guys. So yeah, if it's good enough for the Osmocom tetra guys and all the other applications that work excellently well on Linux and Windows, it's good enough for us, isn't it, guys? So he recently updated TELIVE to the TELIVE-2, which is the second iteration, right? And the second iteration of TELIVE-2 actually enabled a user to input a reduced size 32-bit tetra decryption key. So 32-bit reduced key was one of the backdoors discovered by the Team Midnight Blue guys in their tetraburst vulnerability disclosures, okay? They seem to think that the NSA had pressured ETSI to put this exploit for reducing a 64-bit key to 32-bit. They seem to think that it was done on purpose. ETSI have, of course, said that's silly. Of course not, but who believes them? Not me. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing today, guys. TELIVE-2. Now, I'm using Dragon OS Focal XR37. Feel free to try and Noble. I'm fairly certain it's going to work. And we've just got a couple of applications to configure, install, and build. So let's get started. And I'm going to fetch the osmo-tetra SQ5 BPF2, second iteration, guys, okay? And we're going to actually build that by cding into the SQ5 BPF osmo-tetra /source directory. You don't have to follow me as I go through the file manager, guys. I'm just going to do that so you guys can see what's going on behind the scenes, under the hood. We're going to build that. Should see a bunch of libraries and binaries get built in there. That was easy. Let's fetch TELIVE-2 now. So, oh yeah, these are all my commands as well, guys. They'll be in the pinned comment and in the description below. So, I'm going to cd back to my home directory, guys. So just the cd command by itself will just get you back to your home directory, okay? Now, let's fetch TELIVE-2 from GitHub. So I'm just going to hit enter on that command. And that downloaded successfully. So we're going to cd into the TELIVE-2 folder here. And then we're going to run the make command. I've been getting a lot of heat in the comments lately of people saying, bro, why are you like manually copying, pasting using the menu here? I do that, guys, because if you're new here, I do that because a large base of my viewers, like a large proportion of my viewers on YouTube do not speak English and they don't understand what I'm saying. So if I do everything the slow, long, and manual way, I can actually physically see what I'm doing. And then as opposed to me just using like keyboard shortcuts and being like a Linux magician and they won't know what's happening. So that's the reason for that if you're new here. Okay, so I'm going to CD into this folder here. And the reason we're doing that, guys, is we need to fetch, build, and install the voice codec for Tetra. So the beauty of using open standards, guys, is ETSI actually provides the source code for the voice codec on their website, okay? Which is pretty cool. There's this folder here inside the osmo-tetra, so you can see that I've already CD'd into that, and there's this bash script here, guys. And this bash script will do 90% of the work for us for fetching and building and installing the voice codec. So we're just going to run that bash script with that command there. So the beauty about Tetra is it actually uses its own a separate voice codec compared to all the other digital modes like DMR and NXDN and stuff like that. So a lot of people say that Tetra sounds better because all the other voice digital radio modes use ambi, which a lot of people agree that ambi sounds horrible, but Tetra has like a more natural sound to it because it's actually using its own codec, which was developed by ETSI. So sounds a lot better, a lot of people say. So all right, so we need to go into this folder here, right? So I'm going to use the cd command to get into this folder here called C code. So now we're actually going to build a couple of binaries relating to the Tetra voice codec. I'm just going to make it with that command there. And you can see here we've got a couple of binaries just got built. So the two binaries that we care about are C decoder and S decoder. And we actually need to transfer them into the TELIVE/bin folder. Bin stands for binary in Linux, or all computers actually. So I'm going to copy this one-liner here, and then I'm going to hit enter on that. And then if we browse back to our TELIVE bin folder, we can see that we've got those two executables in there. So that's excellent. All right. So this folder here is very important. A lot of features in TELIVE actually need to find these bash scripts. So what we're going to do is we're going to export the path. And when you export a path through your bash rc file, that will make this folder available universally across your system. Okay, so if you call a command or a function in the terminal window, your Linux installation has the location of these files. Okay, and that's what we're going to do here. So what we're going to do is I've got a one-liner here for you guys, but you guys will need to edit it, right? So your username in Linux is all the text before the @ symbol in your host name, okay? So I always use username for my Linux installations because I'm not a full-time Linux user, okay? This is most of the time I'm just using virtual machines and don't care about them. So yeah, you will need to edit this section here of my command. Whoops, what's going on here? You'll need to edit this section here of your command, whatever matches that all the text symbols and numbers before the @ symbol, okay, guys? So make sure you do that first. And then after you've done that, we hit enter. Whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, we hit enter. All right, and just to make sure that we actually did edit our bash rc file, I'm going to hit enter on that, and we can see that the changes have been made. That's excellent. And actually, what I will do is we need to, after you edit your bash rc file, you actually have to close and then reopen the terminal, okay? So I have to do that for the window that I'm going to run TELIVE in. And then just for the sake of completeness, in case anybody has questions and need to point to which terminal, I'm just going to name that TELIVE-2. Sorry about that. That wasn't in my script. Whoops. All right, so next thing we need to do is we need to edit this file here called tplay, right? We need to edit that, but because we're super cool hackers, we're not going to use the GUI. We're going to use Nano to edit that file, okay? And what we need to do is we need to remove this line here that you can see me removing on the screen. Again, I've got another username that you will have to edit, right? So you need to substitute these two username words here for whatever your host name is in Linux. Okay, everybody, make sure you do that first. My Linux operating systems always use username, so I don't need to change anything. Okay, so we just copy and paste that text there. We press Control X on the keyboard. We type yes on the keyboard, and then we hit enter. And then that has edited the bash script here. So I'll just open in Featherpad. Perfect. Everything's going to plan so far. Cool, we're ready to listen to voice, everybody. So, all right, so we need an RF front end. So a common workflow in Linux is we have our RF front end, right? RF front end is sending raw RF information to a demodulator. The demodulator extracts the bits and sends them to the decoding application, all right? That's a typical workflow when you're decoding digital radio signals. So we're going to utilize a GNU radio flowchart. And that is going to serve as our RF front end. So I'm going to CD back to my home directory here. All this talking is making me thirsty. It's been a while since I've had a beer on stream with you guys. But since it's 7 PM, it's beer o'clock for me. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter on that command. And then we can see here that we've got this GNU radio flowchart downloaded to our home directory. So you can either double click it, or you can be a cool hacker and use the command line. I'm going to hit enter on that. Yeah, welcome to GNU Radio, guys. This is not an easy application to use. I have no idea what all this means, okay? Don't ask me. I need to make some changes. So I need to, I need to change the sample rate because I'm using an AirSpy R2, which supports 2.5 megasamples per second. But if you guys are using a rtl-sdr, you could probably just change that to 1 with 6 zeros after it. But I'm using an AirSpy R2, so I need 25 for the sample rate. And I think that's all I need to change. So for now. All right, cool. So we click this little like record button looking thing here to generate the flow graph. That exports a Python script. And then we run the Python script using this here, the play button. So you can see here that there's no signals being received, guys. That's because I'm not tuned to a tetra signal. I think it's, now I actually don't have the frequency written down. What was it? 464. 694, I think is it. Now if I hit enter on that, then I need to turn the gain up. Whoops. Decimal place is in the wrong place. There we go, that's a bit better. I'll just crank the gain up a bit. So I should open this up so you guys can see. So yeah, that's your gain slider here. And then yeah, you enter your frequency up in here. So let's just open this up. So I think this is the signal here. It's this one here, I believe, that I'm targeting. I think, yeah, that one. That's the one that we're currently receiving, all right? Sorry about this, guys. I was totally not prepared. I haven't gotten this far yet. With the video, that is. All right, cool. So we can just leave this run. I could probably chuck this over here because we don't really need it, but it's nice to see the signal that we're receiving. Okay, now I'm going to open up another terminal window, guys. I'm just going to open up another tab. And then now we need to, so this is our RF front end portion running, all right? This is our RF front end portion. Now we need to run the demodulator portion. And osmo-tetra is going to provide that function for us. So I'm going to cd into the osmo-tetra folder. And then we are going to run this command here. And if all goes to well, we should see a lot of data flowing in the channel. So that's awesome. So we've got raw tetra data coming inbound on our computer thanks to my AirSpy R2 and then this little GNU radio flowchart. So that is excellent. All right, so I'm going to move this up here for a little while. I've got my second terminal window here. So don't forget, close the terminal and restart it again if you haven't edited, if you've edited your bash RC file like we did before. Now I'm going to cd into the TELIVE folder here. And then we're going to run a binary just called TELIVE. There we go. That's TELIVE. So this is a remote computer, guys. I can't actually listen to voice right now, but you can see here that there is active voice decoding going on here. And you can see the messages coming through. So you guys are just going to have to take my word for it. It definitely works. Remote PC, no audio. So, and you can see all the messages coming through, like all the voice traffic coming through now. So what I might be able to do to prove that there is voice coming down, it's good that it's busy. It's actually 7 o'clock. I didn't think there'd be any traffic. And yeah, you can see here that the ELSA playback is appearing, and you can see some activity coming up on the sound meter there. So yeah, voice works. It's just I can't show you it. No, there's no encryption in my town. Okay, there's no encryption here. Okay, I didn't decrypt anything just then. This is all 100% clear for me to listen to. So I'm actually getting a phone call from my wife. So that's it. That's all I've got for this video, guys. So I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to take my phone call. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.